Fit in 10 Nation, it is day 57, 13 days to go, which is unbelievable. I know I keep saying it, but it's really unbelievable because, I mean, does it not feel like the challenge just recently started? That's the way it feels to me. Where does the time go? 13 days to go, last day of the teens, soon to be in the single digits. It goes by super fast, right? And just a reminder that every day counts and you want to be as close to your numbers as possible. So make sure you tally, you weigh, you account for everything as specifically as possible. Okay, reminder, no estimations, no adding in foods that you're not measuring. Okay, no, I'll do a little bit of extra of this, therefore I can, indulge in this. No, it doesn't work like that, okay? Just follow the system, account for everything, and the biggest thing that will help you, probably the two biggest things, be as honest with yourself as possible, and send me your feedback. Which, by the way, be accountable, right? Send me your feedback. Which, by the way, let's see here. How many people sent me their feedback? I got feedback last week from Karen, Lori, Roxanne, and Michelle. I got 4 people, which means I need to, because I promised you I was going to do this, I need to call some of you out because we are nearing the end and maybe you think that just doesn't matter so much. I don't really have to give my feedback. I don't have any questions. So, a reminder to Danny, Maria, Gregor, Karen, well, I'll say K2, Sandy, Cheryl, Jan, Magdalena, Tina. You guys need me. You need to send your feedback to me, okay? Send it in. And among these people, there are some that have not sent me their feedback in weeks. All right, so that's usually not a good sign. Okay, it doesn't mean you're doing poorly, but more often than not, it does mean you're doing poorly. Okay, that's just like I said, the people that send me their journal eating regularly, the people that always send me their feedback, those tend to be the people who do really well in the challenge. Okay, accountability is everything. Accountability is everything. Okay. Listen, I wanted to talk a little bit more about low calories and why it's bad for long-term fat loss, because some people still, I don't know if they really understood my last explanation. So I'm going to try to go a little bit slower. I might just put this over 2 videos. We'll see how it goes here, as I'm already at 3 minutes. I'm not even going to go through the details of your energy expenditure, but we can all agree that we have a certain amount of energy that we expend in the day, right? And this is categorized in many forms, but who cares, right? We have a certain amount of energy that we put out through the day, right? And then we've got a certain amount of energy coming in, right? This is coming from food, obviously, okay? So we've got energy going out and energy coming in. What we don't want to create is too much of an imbalance between those two things. So in an ideal world for weight loss, our energy coming in is going to be slightly lower than our energy going out. I'll say it again. In an ideal world for weight loss, now, actually, let's not say weight loss. Let's be more specific, fat loss, because actually that's not true. In an ideal world for fat loss, long-term ongoing fat loss, let's be very specific here, we don't want to have too much of a discrepancy between energy coming in and energy going out, all right? So what happens if we create too much of an energy gap? So a lot of energy going out, a little bit of energy going in. Well, your weight loss will be much faster. And I say weight loss because it's not just going to be fat. It will be, yes, it will be overall more fat than a less of a deficit, but it's also going to be muscle mass loss. And, as time goes on, you know, you're going to, the adherence level is going to be much less because you're going to be starving, okay? And as time goes on, and this is the most important aspect here, is we lose certain inefficiencies with the body, right? Energy inefficiencies. Energy inefficiencies. We don't want to give the body a reason to expend less energy. Now I'm talking more about the BMR and to some degree your non-exercise activity. Why those two things? Well, there are things with your basal metabolic rate. Okay, this is the energy the body basically expends to keep the lights on, so to speak, keep our brain functioning, our organs working, this type of thing. Okay, homeostasis of the body, you know, body temperature, etc. There are things the body will do if it senses too much of a deprivation energy-wise coming in. There are certain things the body will do to lower its BMR, to conserve energy. So we don't want to do that. Now, it doesn't happen overnight, but through time on low calories, that happens. Also, what tends to happen is people will, when they're on low calories, they'll just move less. They'll just move less. So it's like, you know, you're taking in less calories, but then you're just lowering your BMR, which isn't helping you, and then you're moving less. So it's just like, you know, it's like, and then you have to have like less calories, and then it just, like, where do you go, right? At some point, you have to inject more calories, right? You have to reverse things, essentially. Okay, so there's a saying I have when it comes to dieting, and it is you want to get the most out of the most. You want to get the most fat loss out of the most food, right? But obviously there can't be too much food because you're going to gain fat, right? Or you're just going to, you're going to maintain, right? Okay, I'll probably talk about this again, and maybe I should make some graphics about it, just because I really want to set this point home, you know, as clearly as I can. Okay, because you know, this is why I like to measure. Okay, now there are people who don't measure, and you know, they go through life not measuring. They don't really have any issues, or they gain fat and it doesn't really bother them or whatever. But for those people who really care, or for those of you who want to maximize body composition, measurement is everything. And for those people who are stuck, this really matters. This is the type of thing you have to do. Because or else it's like you're kind of just closing your eyes and taking well, I guess you don't have to close your eyes if you're in the dark. It's just like taking stabs in the dark and just hoping and praying that something will work, right? So there has to be some deficit. We don't want too much of a deficit, not over the long term, okay? All right. So for those of you who didn't send me your feedback, do that, okay? Which is like pretty much everybody, okay? Send me your feedback. All right, let's get to the message of the day. What is my message of the day today? Day 57. Listen, it might sound harsh, but it's all your fault. It is all your fault. It is, right? And I've had other messages of the day that are very similar to this, although maybe it's just not quite as to the point, okay? When I say it's all your fault, it just means that you have to take responsibility for as much as you possibly can, not just in this challenge, but in your life, and this will help you to solve your problems. It's when you decide that it's not your fault, that it's not your responsibility, that there's nothing you can do, that it's out of my hands. This is where your problems will not go away, okay? Or things you want to change. Maybe problems is too negative, but things you'd like to change or things that you're not happy with. If you can try to take control, and I'm not saying everything's control, like, listen, when we die, right? We don't have control over that. Let's, you know, hopefully not, okay? But my point here is that you need to take responsibility, as much responsibility for all aspects of your life, and this way you will have more control, and you will you'll have better chance of attaining the things that you want to attain, right? So I'm going to remind you that it's all your fault. Everything is your fault, okay? You are where you are because Well, that might not be a completely fair statement to everybody, right? But let's just assume this. We can't control certain things that happened to us when we were younger, or that we were raised, or et cetera, and I don't want to go off on a long tangent about this. The point is you are where you are, and you can make the necessary improvements by making the right choices and trying to take responsibility for as much as possible, right? Take responsibility. It is all your fault, or mostly it's all your fault, okay? Perhaps it's more your fault for some people than others, but you understand what I'm saying, right? All right, positive energy, positive vibes, believe in yourself for the love of God, give some gratitude. And if you have questions about this dieting point that I mentioned when I talk about, low calories here, let's dive into it more, because I want to know what you don't understand about it, okay? So please let me know, all right? We'll talk to you guys all soon. Have a wonderful day. See ya.